So they said, "Are you a Tory?" And I just looked at them and I kind of laughed and I said, "No, my name is Kaylin." I'm so sorry, people of Britain. It's so embarrassing. Hey guys, welcome back to the Girl Gone London channel. If you're new here, my name is Kaylin. I'm a dual UK and American citizen, and today I am telling you some of the most awkward situations I've been in the UK based on my misunderstanding of British words or phrases. Also, in the spirit of being unscripted and genuine, it did strike me the other day when I was watching some other videos that I feel like most people prepare to be on camera, i.e., they put on makeup, they wear different outfits, they do their hair, and I just basically roll in like the American I am in my like oversized hoodies, and I haven't worn makeup in about 100 years, and I'm not really about to start for a YouTube video. And I just wear what's comfy, which today is my Disney Vacation Club shirt, which it doesn't say Disney Vacation Club on the front, but it says it on the back. And I will tell you that I'm not a Disney Vacation Club member. So why do I own the shirt? Because the only reason I wanted to join Disney Vacation Club was to basically have a shirt to feel like I was part of the Disney Vacation Club. But I realized you can buy the shirt for $40 or the membership for $40,000. So I just cut to the chase and bought the shirt instead. There's some financial advice for your week. So anyway, moving on. This is me. If you like it, thanks for watching. If you don't, I don't really care. Okay, so on to our stories. Like I said, this video could go really off the rails, but I did make a list to make sure I stay somewhat on topic. So the first situation that we're gonna talk about has to do with when I first started working in England. And my first job, one of my first jobs in England, was working for the local government association. Now, why you would let an American like 24-year-old who knows nothing about the UK work for the local government association, I'm not really sure, except for the fact that I knew somebody and I think they just didn't want to deal with outside hiring or hiring outside of like recommendations, so I got the job, but had no idea what anyone was talking about. The first thing that was very confusing was the word counselor. So if you work in local government in the UK, people are saying the word counselor all of the time because a counselor in the local government context in the UK is like somebody who represents their local community. However, we don't use this term in the same way in the US, and there are differences in spelling between the UK and the USA, right? So when I kept seeing this word, counselor, I could only think that it was like a mental health counselor, which granted is spelled differently, but so is tire in each country. So I was like, I guess that's how they spell counselor. It's not. This word is a local government counselor, is a political or like, yeah, government related position. This is somebody who helps you with your mental health. I just thought when I first started working there that, well, I didn't know what I thought. I couldn't figure it out. I was like, wow, British people really seem up on mental health considering they need all of these counselors to come to all of these events. And I did work within the planning sector of the local government association. And as a general rule, British people do not like planning in terms of like, they don't like new buildings, new structures, new roads, like that type of planning. It doesn't go down well really ever. And so I was just like, do they all just need a lot of emotional support for this new building that's going in that they don't want? I could not figure it out. It took me a while. I didn't actually make a fool of myself having an interaction like I did in some of my later examples, but I was very confused when I first moved here and heard the word counselor. Another thing on my list that does have to do with my time with the local government association in Westminster, which also, side note, they literally made me a name tag and I was so happy because I was like newly working and I was like, wow, like I get a badge with my name on it. So they went down, they took my picture, and the guy comes up and he gives me my badge. And I look at it and they've just used a random picture of another girl with brown hair and put it on my badge. It was so embarrassing. I think I have a picture, which I will put up here. So that was awkward in and of itself, getting that fixed. But anyway, what was I saying? Okay, so when I first started working in the local government, as you can imagine, they're all very political. They work in government. They work in Westminster. I have no idea about anything. And so one of the things that somebody said to me was, "Are you a Tory?" Now, I knew the names of the different UK political parties, the actual names. So I knew Conservative, Labour, I think I knew Liberal Democrat, but like I knew the basics. But outside of the UK, people don't use the term Tories to refer to the Conservative Party a lot. I mean, Americans don't really talk about the UK politics in general, but if they were to, they'd probably use the party name because Tory is like the nickname within the country. Tory, as it turns out, is also a very popular name in America. I'm not sure I've ever met another British person named Tory. I say another British person, my name isn't Tory. What if my name were Tory though, and I just told you it was Caitlin? Anyway, so Tory is a very popular name in America. Could be with a Y, could be with an I at the end, but Tory is just like a girl's name. So this person said to me, "Are you a Tory?" And the only thing that could go through my head was that they were somehow making a comment about my name, like maybe there were a lot of women named Tory. God, this is so embarrassing. There's like people in the office, like maybe there were a lot of Tories in the office, as in like women named Tory. So they said, "Are you a Tory?" And I just looked at them and I kind of laughed and I said, "No, my name is Kaylin." I'm so sorry, people of Britain. It's so embarrassing. Why I'm putting this on video, I have no idea. Anyway, I then found out what Tory actually means. Okay, next one is the word solicitor in the UK. A lot of people want to be solicitors when they grow up, or they work as solicitors. And you would know what I'm talking about if you're in the UK. You're like, yes, that is an esteemed position to be a solicitor. They make good money. Good job, you know, whatever. It's not the same in the US. We don't have that word, solicitor. We just say lawyer. That's the only word, lawyer. Solicitor in the US is a person who makes telemarketing phone calls to try and sell you stuff. So if you get like a telemarketing call and you hang up the phone and someone would say, "Oh, who's that?" You'd say, "Oh, that was a solicitor." So again, this is one of those situations where I was at some extended family event and someone was talking about how their son wanted to become a solicitor and the training he had to go through. And I was just so confused as to why this woman was so open about the fact that her son was going to make basically like scam phone calls to people for a living, and also why that required so much training. So I kept asking all of these questions, like I was so fascinated, and I don't think she ever fully caught on that I didn't understand. I clearly was missing the mark of what a solicitor meant, but I was like, oh wow, like that's so interesting, like that you need so much training. Like she must have thought I was just the weirdest person on the planet. But again, found out later on, solicitor in the UK is a good thing. Solicitor in the US is not like a bad thing, but it's not a job. It's not an esteemed position. It's not a job that you would like aspire to have. Okay, the next couple have to do with my time at university in the UK. So the first one is that when I first got we had to write a paper or something for whatever. See, I can't even use the right like UK versus US terms. Whatever class, I would call it a class, lecture, I don't know. We did an assignment that someone was supposed to tell us how we did on it via a number, okay? So in the US, we would always call this a grade. So somebody would say, "What grade did you get?" Like that's basically the term. Here in the UK, another term for grade that I've heard used more often is mark or marks. So I was in this situation with a friend at the time who was in my class I was doing a degree with here in the UK, and we'd gotten our first assignment back, and it was, I don't know if they even do this anymore, but we had to actually, you know, turn it in like a physical paper, and they would physically write down, like, make corrections and write stuff on it. So it wasn't virtual. So she said, "What marks did you get?" And I'm like, "Girl, I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'm going to look at my paper and I'm going to do the best to try and figure out what you're saying to me." And there is a number written there, but that, to me, that's my grade. She didn't ask me my grade. She asked me what marks I got. So I looked down at the paper and scanned it. And I was like, I have no idea why she's asking me what marks I got. But I said to her, I was like, "Oh, I got a lot of check marks." And she's like, "What?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, like, there's a lot of, like, check marks on here." Why would she care if there's check marks on there? I don't know, but it didn't mean grade to me. And we're not friends to this day. Unrelated, but it didn't work out. Similarly, I went to an orientation one time, and this was when I had kind of first moved here as well. And so they are looking at a list of who is supposed to be there and trying to figure out if you're on the list, have you attended, have you showed up. So I went in, told whatever lady, "Yes, this is my name. Here I am." Later on, the same lady comes up to me and she says, "Oh, have I ticked you off?" Ticked you off doesn't mean the same thing in the US as it does in the UK. Tick you off in the UK means I have marked down that you're here. I have check marked. Check, you're here. I've checked you're here. I've ticked you off the list. No, it doesn't mean the same thing in the US. Ticked you off in the US is only for if you have made someone mad. So you have, like, ticked them off. So why this lady that I had never met, that had only taken attendance that morning, was asking me if she had ticked me off was beyond my comprehension. So I said, "No, you haven't." Since she was like, "Oh, okay. What was your name again?" And I'm like, I'm so confused. And I said, "Oh, my name's Kaylin," or Tori. Again, you don't know the difference. And she looks at her list and she's like, "Oh no, I've got you down." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So then it was awkward because she was like, "Why didn't you remember checking in with me?" And I'm like, I'm new here. All right, next one on my list is the use of the word surgery. Because in the US, surgery is this. That is it. That is all. Surgery is like they are about to, like, slice you open on the table. Surgery in the UK, as it turns out, can be that. Or it can be like a doctor's surgery. That's just what they call it. It's just the doctor's office. In the US, we'd say doctor's office. Didn't realize this. So one of the first times I needed medical attention in the UK, I thought I had bronchitis because I had a cough for, like, a long time that was very intense, would not go away. So somebody was trying to help me and they said, "Oh, like, you should call the," well, she probably said ring, but "you should call the GP surgery. You should call the surgery." And I'm like, I said to her, I was like, "Oh, well, like, no, I think I just have bronchitis. Like, I don't need surgery." And she's like, "What?" And I said, do they do surgery for a cough here? That seems a little extreme, especially on the NHS, known for being conservative. Like, I don't want to be sliced open. Like, I just want some antibiotics." And she's like, "Yeah, you just call the surgery." And I was like, I don't think we're speaking the same language right now. Eventually we figured it out. And calling the surgery doesn't mean actually you're going to have a surgery, but in the US, that is what that would mean. Now, the last things on my list have to do with kids. So I had a friend of a friend. I was at, again, some event, some social thing with, like, people that I didn't know, and they were going to have a baby soon, and they said that they still needed to buy a cot, okay, for this baby. Now, cot in the UK is not the same as cot in the US. A cot in the UK, as I later learned, is a crib for a baby. That's what we call it in the US. It is where a baby sleeps every single night. A cot in the US is a bed that you take camping. That is it. That is what it means. And so this woman said, oh, like we still need to get the cot. And I said, in my infinite wisdom, oh, are you guys going camping? And she said, oh, no, like the baby's due in like a couple of weeks, so we're probably not going to be camping for a long time. Why she even answered my question without like completely making fun of me was very impressive on her part. But she said, oh no, like the baby's due in a couple weeks, like, yeah, we're not going camping. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, like, why do you, okay, I think I probably said like, oh, like out of curiosity, then like, what are you gonna use the cot for? Again, cot in my head looks like this. It's not that. It's not what a cot is here. And she's like, because what the baby's gonna and now at this point I think she realized like this dumb American has no idea. And she was like, no, like cot, like where the baby sleeps like every night, like, and she like described it, and I said, oh, I'd call that a crib. Okay. And then I explained what cot meant in the US, and we had a laugh. Again, I don't talk to this person either. Died of embarrassment. Cross them off the list of future social engagements. And the final one that has really thrown me over the years before I realized what it meant was the word reception, relating to children starting school. In America, we call this stage kindergarten, which is actually a German word. We don't say the word reception as it relates to school for kids. Has nothing to do with kids schooling. In the UK, it does, clearly. But people were talking early when I first moved here about their kids starting in reception soon. And all I could think was the US meaning of the word reception, which is also the same here in the sense that reception is the people that greet you when you come into an office or something. So you could have a reception at a school, but Americans don't call the first stage of school reception. So we would only call, this is a reception desk. And so they're like, oh yeah, like my kid's starting reception soon. And I was like, I don't understand how you can put your 5-year-old are they doing like work experience, like at the reception desk? Like, have they had to decide already that they're training to be a receptionist? I could not figure out what reception was here for a while until I finally figured it out. And actually, I do like the word reception for that kind of entering stage of school, because it does make sense to me now. Like, it's like their reception into the schooling system. But in America, we don't use that. We do just say kindergarten. So that was definitely like some awkward child-related conversations where I was like, I feel like that's against some sort of child labor law, and they're just talking about their kids starting school. Okay, that brings me to the end of the video. I hope you found some enjoyment in some of these examples and have been able to laugh at my embarrassing situations over the years. I'm sure there's still many more to come that I haven't experienced in the next 10 years, so stay tuned for the update video. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.